No, today was a train wreck. In fact, this house might have just had the last nail in the coffin for it.
So yesterday was a bummer. What are we doing now?
We've been trying so hard to save this place, or at least some part of it. And now...
Well, with the warm temperatures, we had 72 degrees yesterday, and you could really smell the mice. We didn't realize how... It makes sense it being a granary, but the walls are just feet thick of mouse nests. And
you can taste it. You can taste it.
If we ever had any intention of staying here or cooking here, you couldn't.
No.
Not with the smell and the taste that gets on your tongue.
So, all those plans to try to save original boards and stuff,
Yeah.
I don't know how we're gonna do it. We gotta come up with a new plan.
This house fell into such decay over the past 130 years. The way back to life is going to be more drastic than we had planned. This will be a big pivot. We had hoped to save the whole interior of this 1889 house. Spring is throwing everything she's got at us. 16 inches of snow overnight in May. We can't know how much we can save until we cut open every wall of the house. Then we'll have more answers, and we'll be able to make a plan as soon as the sun comes back out. But today, we'd better get back to the ranch shop and build the one thing we know we need: windows. In all the exploration we've done so far, we've only found one small chart of window glass. And that made us wonder, did this 1889 house even have glass windows? Maybe they were just greased paper windows. That was actually pretty common on the prairie. And we've decided to go with glass, not paper. But we aren't just buying something modern and off the shelf.
So, we ordered custom wooden windows for a previous project, and actually, the leftover windows are a pretty close fit. But in order to make the extras work for this project, we have to cook up a semi-homemade solution. It's gonna be 1 part leftover windows, 1 part farmer and woodworker ingenuity. And a dose of light suffering to get the job done right.
Well, it's spring in Montana. It's blazing hot one day, and we got a snowstorm the next. But of course, I forgot to measure the window opening, so I had to drive all the way out here on the four-wheeler to get the measurement so we can work on windows. Okay, let's get the measurements and go back to the shop.
Back in the shop. Okay, so forgive the wild hair. That was a wild ATV ride. The width looks pretty good. The width is 28 and our rough opening is 29 max, so that should fit perfectly. But the length, what did I say it was? Okay, length is 44. That's not tall enough for these windows. So the rough opening is 68 to 69 inches. We're gonna have to find some way to add on and modify these windows. And I'm not really sure how I'm gonna do it yet, but we're gonna figure out a way. Now that I know how they come apart, I just have to decide what I'm gonna do.
Okay, with one of the windows made, we can do a test fit. It's the moment of truth, to see if they fit and if they look right.
Should fit.
With the test window a decent fit, we can get on with making more. Now, while the sun is shining, we move forward with getting into the bones of this house. This is the moment of truth. The inside of these walls dictate everything.
So we have really struggled to know when exactly this house was built. The records about it are so old that they are actually stored in the clock tower of our local courthouse. And a big storm hit years ago. They all got wet and pretty much destroyed. But Robbie went up into that tower with Zane, the archaeologist, and they dug around looking for any history on this place, but there's just not much. So we have a mystery on our hands. How old is this place? We think we found a way to know for sure when this house was built. This is the secret: square nails. At first we thought if it's a square nail, it must be handmade, but not true. Apparently this type of nail was one of the first machine cut types made. Somewhere from 1810 to 1890, this is what pretty much every nail looked like. So that settles it, right? The cabin must be pre-1890. No. Because if you look at any board, half the nails in it are square nails, like that guy, but then half of them are round nails, like this. And they were all put in at the same time. So early round nails come into play about 1890, you guessed it. So to get out of the weeds here, I guess that all of this dates the cabin to somewhere between 1889 and 1900. So Robbie burst my bubble by saying, farmers never throw anything away. So who knows how long those nails sat in a bucket before they built Uncle Dan's. But I'm gonna ignore his pessimism. The evidence says this is a late 1800s house, and it was built just after it was homesteaded in the famous year Montana became a state, 1889.
But that you actually see. Look how thick it started.
Oh wow,
and how
the
much
weather.
how
Put
much
it in the
that's,
sunlight to show that.
you gotta do it like a profile. And it's a 1/4 of an inch war by weather.
All the wood on the inside is good, and it even has all the square nails. So in order to save it, I have a crazy idea. What if we take the Sawzall and we cut down the seams on the corners?
Okay.
Like this. Okay, so like slide it in and cut it away, and then theoretically the wall will just tip down. Just unfold it.
Okay. Let me go get the farmhand.
Is it crazy?
It's very crazy. The trouble is all the overlapping.
I know.
The corners everywhere are overlapped. I don't know if this is going to work or not. he'll pick him up.
Another tragedy of the day, Robbie accidentally crushed Jesse's window with the man lift.
Ah, gosh, horrible news. It's not that the walls are so rotten. I mean, there's some rot, but we can fix that. We can work around it. It's that the boards are soaked in 100 years of mouse and pack rats, flies, vermin urine. I don't know how to fix that. I mean, can you imagine staying here for an overnight stay? You light the cook stove, turn on an oil lamp, and as everything warms up, that smell, that's unfixable. No, that's unfixable. That's unfixable. Whether the boards can be saved, I don't know. That's really come into question today. It would just make this thing useless in the future.
Okay, so we have all the boards off, we have everything down, we've discovered all of the mouse urine. What's the new plan?
I think we should stick with the original idea that we're gonna unfold the house, literally peel the corners back, drag them away, and then keep them, not to reuse the boards, but for some sort of reference, so we can copy them exactly how they were.
And then we'll use the boards that we cut last winter, and we'll just rebuild it to the exact dimensions that you see right now. It just will be square and true, and it will smell new.
Okay, so why are you saving the walls? Why not just burn them? Why are you taking them down?
I thought about burning them. There's a part of you that's like, I'm done with it.
Well, for one reason not to burn them is then we get to copy the design. We can measure it, we can make sure stuff's centered. And the other reason not to burn them too are the nails. So
yeah,
and we can still salvage some of it, although there might be a smell in some boards. There'll still be a use for a lot of that wood. I'm sure we can figure it out.
Yeah, if we can save the square nails and we can save some of the boards, some of the history.
Yeah.
There's a value to that. I get that. Yeah.
Part of why we're going to the effort to save this little shack is because back in the day when this spot was America's frontier, a pioneer made a choice to build this house in this way. He had a handful of choices for how to make a house. He could have built a soddy that was usually a dugout with a dirt roof, quick to make and warm in the winter, or he could have built a log cabin. A great choice if your land has plenty of trees. Log cabins have thick walls to protect you, and you don't need a lot of tools to construct one. Or option 3 was a stick-built house. This required sawmilled boards. This choice would have been a little bit fancy, but not quite as fancy as a stone house, which would have been the Rolls-Royce of the time period. Records show our cabin's original homesteader owned a sawmill back in 1889. He would have had access to lots of lumber, and that's likely why he chose option 3, stick-built. But the way he built it is pretty piecemeal. Scraps of board here and there, and yet a cedar shingle roof and very large window openings for the day. Kind of fancy choices. The whole thing is making us scratch our heads. We are about to do a totally unconventional thing when it comes to historic preservation. We can't take the professionals' approach, which would be to jack up this house and have a team work gingerly underneath to save every board and rebuild the foundation. The boards are shot, the floor is shot, the smell is unbearable. So, we're making our own route. As we jump into this big moment in the project, we just want to say if you are enjoying this whole process of renovation with us, even the ups and downs, share it with your friends and subscribe to the channel. We need your moral support on this train wreck of a day. Okay, back into it. We're about to cut the corners of this house free and fold it over. It's a drastic step. We just keep telling ourselves this is a journey we're on here. We'd rather have a story to tell than a perfect renovation. At the end of the day, it's a heck of an adventure in a beautiful place. I think that did it.
I think that did it too. Wasn't too bad. Just needed to cut those bottom pieces off. There. Well, probably would have gone the first time. That's kind of scary how easy that went. But then again, I mean, we cut all the walls and everything else. Wow. That's a view.
This is it. The 4 walls are coming down. The new plan, as weird as it is happening. Not how we expected, but it is happening. If today felt major, and even tragic, it was. But Uncle Dan's cabin is coming back. A bit newer and fresher than we had planned at the start, but it is coming back. The house is in pieces, but it is not gone. Next episode, we'll tackle the floor and stacking the stone foundation. A lot of fresh boards will be here, ready to save the architecture. Until then, you'll just have to wonder if it really is possible to bring a house back from death. Maybe it isn't, and a small piece of history really is gone forever.